All right. Well, I think now is as good a time as any to get started again. Good morning, everyone. Mike Anderson here from American Independent Marketing. Joining me are our social media specialists and experts, Aaron Cassover and Jonas Roser. They'll both be weighing in here in a little bit. For any of you that joined just in the last couple minutes, be sure and enter in your 2-digit audio PIN code. It's listed in your control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. That will allow us to unmute you when we get to the Q&A portion of things. We will be recording this, so we are in what they call lecture mode, meaning any questions that you have during the middle of the presentation will have to be keyed in to the control panel. So with that, I want to turn it over to Aaron, and away we go.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Microphone check. I'm coming through okay?
You're coming in strong.
Okay, great. And my screen share is turned on, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
I will always ask. Make the mistake once, and you always ask every time from there on.
There you go.
So today we're talking about social media. And the goal today is not to give you hype about social media. And we know it's big. If you turn on any industry publication, if you open up any magazine on the business, you're going to find an article somewhere about social media, and you're going to read about how fast Facebook is growing and how many millions of tweets per minute happen on Twitter, and all the YouTube videos are getting posted per hour, and all that stuff, and all kinds of hype. That's really not what we're here to do today. We're not here to just to tell you must be on doing this. We're here to give you some context as to why, and to talk to you about how social media can help you sell insurance, how you can use this tool very tactically to grow your business and to sell insurance. So the goal today isn't to give you hype. It isn't to just sort of tell you how big this is. It's to give you a clear framework of how social media fits into selling insurance and some simple steps to get started. We'll go through the 3 major social networks and tell you how they're different, and then we'll give you just a very tactical way to use social media to grow relationships, and how you can use this channel, which is really a phenomenal, very powerful channel if used correctly to sell insurance. So again, today's objectives, 3 things. The first is to look at how social media changes selling. What's different today than 5 or 10 years ago? Look at some strategies for using the 3 major social networks and look at how they're different and how you use each one kind of to position yourself correctly. And then finally, we'll give you a solid game plan to use social media to build relationships with your customers. So let's dive in to number 1, looking at how social media has changed selling. So a few things when we look at what's changed. The first is that you don't control your message anymore. It used to be that we lived in this kind of world of broadcast communication where you had a voice if you did direct mail, or if you did advertising, outbound calling. If you look at certainly companies that do print and television advertising, they controlled their message, and they really were in charge of how their service or product was presented. Today, it's different. Your customers control your message. They decide what to say about you, and they have a very simple and easy way to spread the word. They decide what to share, so they can share your ads, your information, or they cannot. And they really get to decide what your message is. And so what that means is you need to think about inbound instead of outbound. You need to think about ways, as opposed to broadcasting out your message, your product, your service, your promotion, you need to look at ways to get your customers to come in to you and to get them to talk about your information with each other so that they are spreading your word. And the final thing is you need to focus on relationships instead of products. So as opposed to pushing out messages about the products that you sell, you need to focus on creating interactions with people you have relationships with, and let that become the primary bond of your communication. So let's take a dive in and sort of see some other industries and what's happening there. This I took last year. This is an example of customers controlling their message. This is from the Carnival cruise that happened last year, where the power went out on the ship. And we know that Carnival kind of didn't really engage people. They just issued some press releases and let social media and people on the ships and everywhere else kind of control their message. And we know the story where they were floating for, I think it was like a week without power, without bathrooms. It was really a mess. And so this is just in the span of 2 minutes. All of the tweets that were being sent out about Carnival Cruise, really none of which are positive. And this absolutely had a real impact on their brand and the bookings that happened for the next travel season. They chose to focus on the short-term bottom line instead of the relationships with their customers. And because of that, the customers took to the streets, took to Twitter and Facebook, and really controlled the spin of that event. Now, let's take another look at sort of somebody who's taken outbound marketing, pushing on a message, and just put it onto Twitter. And this is an example in the insurance space. This is somebody who sort of jumped onto social media and is doing things the old way. They're just pushing out product message. They've got tons of noise, really very little quality, very little interaction. This person has 45,000 tweets, 1,600 followers. So you'd say, oh, that's great. They're using social media. But I guarantee you nobody's listening. They're just over and over again pushing buy car insurance, get quotes on car insurance, get quotes, save $600 now, get car insurance quotes in 3 minutes. Nobody listens to them. They're just flooding the channel with noise and getting ignored. This is an example of using outbound broadcasting through social media. And you can certainly imagine if you were the recipient of this person's messaging, you'd tune it out very quickly. You'd stop listening. So think about this sort of idea of outbound. If you go to social media and you start treating it as an outbound communication channel, you very quickly get tuned out, like I'm sure this U.S. car insurance person or agency is. So to kind of better understand this, let's go away from insurance for a few minutes. Let's talk about some other markets that I think will kind of shed some light on the old way of marketing and the new way of marketing. And so let's talk about the exciting land of condiments. Here we have Heinz and their funky purple Easy Squirt ketchup, a pretty funky product. And now we know who our customers are selling insurance. We talk to them every day. We get to interact with them face to face. But if you sold ketchup, if you were Heinz, you don't get that benefit of sitting down with your customers at the time they're going to buy from you. You ship your products off to a grocery store. It goes on a shelf, and then your customer comes and buys it. And you don't ever see them. You don't ever talk to them. You don't ever get to interact with them. So if you sold ketchup and you want to roll out a new product or launch a new market, what would you do? Well, in the old way, this is what Heinz would do. They would begin by doing tons of market research. They would see, where is the growing market for ketchup? Where are there underserved niche markets we can develop products for? Are there trends we can capture? Are there new ways of positioning our product? Are there new colors? Are there different shaped bottles that are kind of emerging opportunities for us? They would then spend months in meetings. They'd sit together and look at concepts and prototypes and discuss options and go over the data and hire a management consulting firm to help them. And eventually they come up with an idea, what they think they should do. And they'd go pick a test market, and they'd roll out that product in that market to see how it does. And then finally, they would advertise like crazy. And they would go and get on TV, and they'd put it on the back page of Newsweek magazine and just kind of get the message out there. And this old way of marketing is risky. You put all of your effort in before you see any return. So you really don't know if it's going to work until you've expended a lot of time and money. It's expensive. It's time-consuming. It can take years to get a product out. And it's full of flops. It's full. There's a graveyard full of product flops. Certainly Heinz has a graveyard by themselves of colors and shapes of packaging they tried to put out there that it didn't work. That's the old way. The new way, if you want to launch a product through social media I'll use an example of this company called Olikraut. And they are a sauerkraut company that grew up in the world of social media. And they grew up developing these interactions with their customers so that they interact with them on social media and they can connect with them one-to-one. And so when they want to launch a new product or roll out a new market, this is what they do. It's a little different. They ask their customers. They go onto Facebook where they have relationships with their customers, and they ask them, in this case, hello everyone, we need your input. We're looking to expand into more stores in Seattle. Where would you like to see us? And this was asked at 11:49, and 9 hours later, they'd gotten 22 comments from real customers in Seattle who are passionate about their product, who tell them where they want to go and buy their sauerkraut from. It's even better than that. So then they heard from their customers they want to buy their product at Whole Foods. And so Olikraut came back and took the next step and said, okay, great, we want to get in Whole Foods so you can buy it there, but we need your help. Can you call the Whole Foods manager at this number and tell them you want to see our product there? Which is so powerful. What they've done is they've turned their Facebook relationships, their Facebook friends and their customers into their sales force. So where the ketchup company, Heinz, had to go and spend all this money doing advertising to get customers to think about the product, Olikraut is able to get their customers to go and do the marketing and the sales work for them. Imagine that. Imagine being able to engage your customers so that if you start selling a new product, let's say you add a new life insurance product, to get your customers to go out and sell it for you, to get your existing relationships to go to their friends and family and tell them about your product or your service, that's the most powerful marketing relationship you can possibly have. And this is what social media gives you. Now, of course, new way to market, it's low risk. You don't have to spend a dime. It's inexpensive. It's fast. You get feedback right away. And it involves your customers. So I know that we don't live in the world of ketchup and sauerkraut. We live in the world of insurance. But this should give you an idea of really how this channel, these tools, can help you develop these great relationships with your customers, with your prospects, so that they become your advocates and your allies in selling insurance and growing your business. It's really phenomenal. It's a really, really powerful tool. Now, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Jonas, and he's going to talk a bit about the social networks that we have available to us and how they're different. Jonas?
I'm here. Can you hear me, Aaron?
I can.
Great. Okay, the big three. And before I dive into LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, just as Aaron said, social media has just become a monster phenomenon. And you obviously knew it wouldn't take long before it could catch on to how to support your business. And small business, big business, your business, it's here to stay. And it just takes a little bit of your time. So I'm going to go over these three, the big three, and tell you where they fit into your business and how they can help grow your business. And then we're going to come back to Aaron again, and he's going to wrap this all up. And then you guys can put a plan into place and start moving forward. So if we start with Facebook, out of the three here, if you think about this, Facebook is really about friends and family. It's a connection with friends, old and new, your family. You're able to create a page for your business, but you also can have a page for your friends and family. And there's a way to do this, and there's a way to do it correctly so that you're not leveraging what's personal and what's business. But at the same time, you're able to attract people because of your hobbies and because of your personal interests, and you're able to connect with people because they're able to see what you're passionate about, and they're also able to see what's going on in your community. Within Facebook, you definitely want to show people that you like them. So when you're out there and you're seeing something that's relevant to you on someone else's Facebook page, go ahead and like it. Show them that you're entertained. Let them know that you care about them. And on the opposite end, when you're out there putting stuff out there on your Facebook page, you don't want to oversell. One thing about social media, as Aaron told you earlier, is you want to always bubble up relevant content. You want to bring forward good conversation, and you want to be known as the person that does this, but you don't want to be known as the person that's doing it only to put their name and their business and everything in the front, the middle, and the end of it. Just be the person that's generating it. So once again, it shows good faith that you or your business is a person that can put out good content, that has relevant information, and leave it at that. Every once in a while, it's okay to go in on Facebook and let people know that you do survive on referrals and that you would appreciate a recommendation. And what I found so easy for the client to do is, you're able to do this on your own Facebook page, but also bring it back around to your client's Facebook pages. Think about your entire book of business. And going back to them via email, let them know that you do rely on referrals, because it's sometimes very hard to ask for 10 names and 10 phone numbers when you're done at the end of a sale. But it's pretty easy to ask them to maybe list your website on their Facebook page and say that Aaron Cassover is a great long-term care specialist, and he's professional and understands tax benefits, and I believe in long-term care insurance, and you should buy it too, something along those lines. Because what happens is it goes out to everyone on their Facebook page, and you didn't step too much in the space of your new client because you weren't taking information from them. They were taking comments that you would like them to put on their Facebook page and go out to their sphere of influence. So if they don't do it, nothing lost, but if they do, so much gain because there's so many people there. So remember, social media is a give and take, and that's one way that your client can give back to you, but then you can also give back to your client by, once again, posting great content on things that are interesting, and it doesn't always have to be on the product that you're selling. So if you specialize in long-term care insurance or critical illness insurance, you don't always have to be posting stuff on that. Maybe post something on great travel tips or ways to, or things that are related to insurance. Maybe it's tax credits or something along those lines. So you're always giving them good information. It just doesn't have to be on the product that's your core product. So if we're going to change gears now from Facebook, still keeping on the same thing about keeping up good content and being a communicator and a connector, we're going to move into Twitter. And in my eyes, I really see Twitter as a cocktail party. I've really adopted that phrase from Aaron, to be honest, and I do very much like it, and I've been using it quite a lot lately. But it's true, because what people are doing is they're constantly chatting. They're chatting in so many characters. They're making sure they're leaving enough, a few less characters so they're able to retweet it. And that's important too, because what you want to be able to do is put out good content on Twitter so that it can be pushed forward again. You want to be followed. You want to be forwarding on by retweeting. And you don't want to push too hard. This is just a great way to be social and to be a connector without being overbearing. Follow, and once again, double-sided. Follow people you're interested in, and have people are going to start following you if you're putting up interesting content. I found that agents that are working in the business-to-business area, they're following what their clients are doing, so they're able to drop back in and say, oh, I saw that this was happening, and maybe there's another way to get in there and sell another product. Or they're following clients they'd like to have and see what they're doing. Seeing that now there's an expansion, there's a build-out happening over here, or a new hire protocol happening over there, so it's a great way to come in and offer another product. So staying in contact and following people that you're in business with and people you want to be in business with. Now, to close out the big three, we're going to move and transfer over to LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is absolutely the office. It's the business space. It is where you want to be if you're doing any kind of social media in business, for sure. And what's so great about LinkedIn is you're able to data mine there so much. You're able to connect with coworkers. You're able to create referral sources. And for yourself, it's the ultimate virtual resume. think about this. If you were to go Google yourself right now, typically the first thing that comes up is your LinkedIn profile. If you put your name in Google, typically it always pops up first. I mean, actually, I just want to take a pause for a second. Think about this. If you really don't have a handle on how big social media is, how do you think 10 years ago we would have said, hey, I'm going to Google you, I'm going to Facebook you, I'm going to find you on LinkedIn, I'm going to look you up on Twitter, or I'm going to search you on YouTube? Think about that. I mean, you've said those words, and other people have said them too. So now's the time to make sure that when they're doing that for you, they're finding you there, because this is absolutely a fixture within business in our landscape, and I can't see it really going anywhere. I can only see it growing, social media in general. But just jumping back into LinkedIn real quick, what makes LinkedIn so great is everything that you're able to do there. You can connect with your customers and prospects. And once again, you can learn about them. It's a great place to go and learn about people that you're going to meet ahead of time or to follow up with later. I've constantly heard of people selling at the kitchen table and then going back into LinkedIn and looking up the client they just sold and looking for their employer, and then going back to the employer and trying to talk to them about doing an executive carve-out or a worksite sale or something along those lines, letting them know that they've actually helped one of their employees. It's a great way to find out information about future prospecting. You know, you can share professional and relevant content. With LinkedIn, there's group pages. And it's a great way also to grow your profile there. So what you want to make sure you do is have a LinkedIn profile. You want to join some groups that are relevant to what you're doing, and then what you want to do is post relevant content there. The same way that we talked about on Facebook, the same way we talked about on Twitter. But what's great about LinkedIn is you can actually post it on so many different platforms within LinkedIn because of all the groups. And you're actually really able to grow what I think is a solid brand for yourself that businesses will start following. So maybe you become the insurance guru for business, because what you're doing is you're constantly posting things that are relevant tax deductions for a business owner to be purchasing LTCI or offering this new thing or something that's happening within the landscape that supports the business or a deduction. When you start doing things like that versus constantly, get a free quote here, as Aaron was showing earlier, you become relevant. You become relevant in the business setting where what LinkedIn is. Now, we talked about the big three here. I hope I painted a picture of the difference between all three of them and some ideas on how you can create your brand within those. But to transfer over, they all need to live somewhere. And they all need to live on what is your home base, which is your website. You need to have a website because this is where you're going to, where you're going to create the home to keep your social media. It's where everyone's going to go to find those areas, and then your website actually becomes the place that you can have other relevant information. It's a space where you actually can talk about yourself. You're supposed to talk about yourself. You engage people in other networks there. You want to bring them to your website. That's the place to brag and to show your value and to show your brand. Show if you're, centralized, you're local, if you're national, what you specialize in. This is where you're going to have those 3 social medias, possibly some YouTube videos. I think YouTube, we call it the big 4. Maybe next time we definitely want to have something there because video is very relevant, and then it's a great way to showcase who you are in a visual setting. So, I'm going to transfer back over to Aaron here, and he's going to talk about your role of social media and selling insurance. And actually, you know what, I'm going to stay on the slide for a second because I got a few more things I want to say real quick. Sorry about that. When you think about your role in selling, you just don't want to oversell. Remember that. It's not a popularity contest. It's not a place to pitch. It's really a place to communicate again. It's not the quick fix. You're not going to just, get it done and this next big thing to do. You need to be out there, and you need to slowly build your brand and slowly build your relevant content of what you're doing. But what it is, when you think about it from an agent standpoint, it's a very low-cost way to develop and strengthen your relationship. You know, social media is a conversation for a salesperson. It just has to be the right conversation. It has to be a place that you really define who you are, the value you bring, and once again, information, real information, not get free quotes, not, you know, limited time fire sale, something like that, real good stuff. And it's a way to really build trust and build some bench strength within the minds of your readers and your followers. It's important. Every time you get a new follower, someone's probably following them or listening to what they have to do. So it's just a great way to continue to build what I think is just the ultimate referral source, because it's living, it's breathing, it's growing. You're growing your brand in social media, and social media is growing itself, connected with all the other people in it. And it's a great way to continue to bubble up who you are, what you sell, and why you're the person to talk to in a way by just constantly bringing up good content and the value that possibly your products can bring to securing, you know, a long-term care plan for your clients. Aaron, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, great, Jonas. So, you know, what I hear is it really comes down to this. It comes down to you have a community that you sell to. We all have our customers, our prospects. We all have the people that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. We have our friends and our family and our neighbors. And with social media, it's the same as it is offline. It really comes down to meeting the needs of your community first. You need to meet their needs, and that earns you the right to promote yourself and your agenda. You need to earn their trust, and then once you have it, they'll listen to you. So we've talked a lot about kind of how you can think about social media, and it might seem overwhelming. There's do's and don'ts. There's you know, kind of the right way and wrong way to use this, and it goes against the way we've traditionally marketed. And so I don't want you to feel intimidated. And to help understand or help kind of position your interactions correctly, we've created something we call the 3-2-1 approach. And this is really a simple framework that structures how you use sharing and what you do on social networks to make sure that you're aligned with your customers, that you're aligned with your community, and that you're meeting their needs first. And the goal here is to give you things to share, give you things to talk about, and to kind of guide your interactions in a way that will resonate with your audience and make them say, this is a person that shares my needs and values. So what we don't want to do is be like this person, where we're just pushing out our agenda. And we instead want to be somebody who is connecting, engaging with people in a real way, developing relationships, and kind of earning that right to then go and sell. And so the way this works is that we break down what you share on social media into 3 different categories, the 3, 2, and 1. The first one is what you sell. That's the one. So the products that you sell, the services you offer. The second is why your customers need it. And so for every one time you post something about what you sell, which is the 1, you want to have 2 times about your customer's need, kind of the underlying need that brings them to your product. And the third is kind of in the bigger picture, what your customers care about in their lives and in their daily interactions, and what do they have in common. And I'll give you an example, so this won't be so abstract. Let's imagine that you're a life insurance agent in Evanston, Illinois. So you sell a specific product, life insurance, to a specific market, Evanston, Illinois. And you probably sell a lot of life insurance to people who maybe recently bought a home, people who recently had kids, people who are concerned about making sure their spouse is cared for if anything happens to them, or there's money for their kids' college or anything happens to them, or those sorts of things. So there's some similar characteristics to the people that this Evanston, Illinois life insurance sells to. So let's look at the types of things that, if you were this agent, you might share via social media. So the first one is kind of the obvious stuff, which is, what do you sell? Well, you sell life insurance. And so you can really quickly, fill up the channel, just like our friend with the auto quotes did, with messages about life insurance. You can have articles about getting life insurance, learning about life insurance, tips for buying life insurance, need a quote on life insurance. We probably all come across good resources, good information, good articles. We have things on our blog maybe about the products that we sell. And so that's the one. Now for every one time we talk about what we sell, we want to talk about 2 times why people want to buy it. So why do you want life insurance? Well, you want to protect your family. You want to make sure your kid's college is protected, that your home is protected in case anything happens to you or your spouse. We know those reasons why you buy life insurance. And so let's just go in and mix. For every one time we talk about life insurance, we will add 2 things about the why. So you can see that now we added 3 tips for saving for college, the 5 stages for retirement planning angst, a tax to-do list, contest to help start saving college savings accounts, 10 fastest growing home markets, are low interest rates a good thing, and the basics of Forex trading. So we've just kind of added in some wider interest here. And you can imagine if you're sharing these things on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, people are going to be interested in this why, probably more than they are in the what. And then finally we'll add the 3, which is what do your customers have in common? So we know that they probably have families or spouses. They probably live in Evanston, Illinois, because that's where we sell. They might be parents of school-age children. They might be looking for things to do in this upcoming summer, so maybe regional travel. So these are interests that our audience has in common. Now think about your market, who you sell to, and what do they have in common? What do they as a group share in their interests? And we'll just go and we'll add this in here. So 3 things here. And again, I'm just adding other things I could share via social networks. And by the way, all of the things I'm showing here are articles I found just very quickly going in and searching news. So these are all real examples of things I could be posting. So interests. So we're adding in 10 weekend getaways in Wisconsin, the Evanston High School football schedule, Evanston City Council approves new farmers market, Evanston restaurant openings in the spring, and then summer travel articles, camping with kids. So you can see that now that we've kind of added the why and the interest to the what we sell, this really engages my audience as this life agent in Evanston, Illinois, at a much wider base. They're going to look at this and they're going to see the things that I'd be sharing as being very much in line with what they care about, very relevant to their lives, and they're going to want to pay attention because they're getting good information. It's not just me pushing my agenda. I occasionally do talk about life insurance here. I do talk about the products that I offer. I make sure it's there, but I round it out very fully with the things that my customers care about. So think about this framework, the 3-2-1 framework, and set a goal for yourself to pick a social media channel. Maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's Twitter, maybe it's LinkedIn, and go in there, and for every one time you talk about your product, you talk about long-term care or critical illness or medical supplements or a product that you're offering to sell, talk about 2 times why people need that, what is kind of the bigger need you're filling, and 3 times what the interest is they have in common. And if you do this, you will find that just very naturally you'll gain an audience. People will follow you, people will understand that you are in line with their needs, and you will build that relationship that earns you the right to sell. And this is a framework that works. It will help you grow your business, generate new leads, and sell insurance, which is the goal. So just to kind of summarize some very quick do's and don'ts about building relationships, some things to do. You do want to connect with people around their interests. You do want to talk about, promote, and help others. And you do want to find your voice and your niche so that you have a unique perspective you're bringing, some unique value you're bringing. Some don'ts. Don't just push your agenda or promote yourself. Don't flood the channel with marketing messages. And don't think your audience cares about insurance as much as you do. Something you have to remember is that, well, we think about this every day, all day. our customers maybe think about insurance when they pay their bill, and then other than that, maybe a couple times in a year, or a couple times in their life even. Some key takeaways. Social media is a new way to market. You need to go and make sure you have accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Even if you're not planning on using all of them right now, it's important to start so you can begin to build that audience so that when you're ready, it's there. 3, this is a conversation, not a broadcast. It's more important to have good relationships than lots of bad relationships. And then finally, once you're up and running with your social network accounts, use the 3-2-1 approach to align your content with your audience to develop that trusting relationship. So that's what we've got. Thank you very much for listening today. If you're really interested in taking this to the next step, we do have a program called the Connected Agent, which is an online marketing program that really puts it all together. And what we're doing is we're giving you a great home base, which is a website, as well as lots of resources and training on how to market online, how to use social networks. And then we're even giving content that you can go and use to share through your social networks that's relevant and will drive people back to your site. So take a look at that program if you haven't already. With that, Mike, do you want to say anything before we wrap up?
Yeah, I was just going to interject that we will have a demonstration webinar for the Connected Agent program in the early part of April. We haven't got it scheduled yet, but keep your eyes open on your email. If you're not familiar with it, this will give you a chance to get in there and become familiar with it, how it can work for you. And we have a sizable number of agents who are making use of it right now, and it's a great opportunity. So I guess we'll open it up for questions here now. So anybody with questions, again, if you have not clicked on your 2-digit audio PIN code, I'm not going to be able to unmute you. We're unmuting everybody else. If you've got questions, go ahead and fire away, and we'll put Jonas and Aaron to the test. And if you've got background noise, a dog, a cat, alarm system, fire truck, tea kettle, whatever, please hit *6 to individually mute your phone so that we don't have the broadcast overrun with that. So that said, let's open it up for questions. Okay, well, it sounds to me like you guys dazzled them once again. We're now 8-0 in the social media webinars that we've done as far as questions, so we continue to have a record of shutouts. So anyway, I think that'll wrap it up. Aaron and Jonas, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Everybody else out there, appreciate it as well. And as always, if there's anything we can do to help you out, do not hesitate to pick up the phone and give us a call. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
all.
All righty.